to the game itself, I wanted to create a game for my Commander play group, which we can play together, of course, and everybody can win. With Commander, it's a zero-sum game. I like that most of the time. Sometimes I don't like it, because only one person can win and everybody has the feeling of, yeah, just one person won. And I wanted to create a game with Magic, a format in which everybody can win when we play together and where nobody has to lose. And I really like MMORPGs like World of Warcraft. Now I don't play that anymore since years, but I like the synergy and the teamwork in it very much. And so I created a format in Magic that works like MMORPG, and especially raiding in those games. And yeah, everybody has a class. Here's the Protector, a tank, so he tries to absorb the massive damage from the enemy. Here is the Healer. He mainly heals the Protector, so he doesn't die, and also other people. I will show the rules for him in the screen or later. Then we have here the Fire Mage. He is a glass cannon damage dealer. He has only 8 HP maximum life, but he is the best damage dealer, and he is not such a great supporter, but he also a little bit supports. This is the Wizard. He has 12 maximum HP and is the best supporter in the game. I recommend this setup when you play with 4 people, which is the minimum players I recommend. And when you play with 5 players, you can also play with the Druid, which is a green deck and class. And if you play with 6 players, you can also choose the Recycler, which only can cast artifacts, but is quite a good damage dealer and supporter, and creates a lot of optional artifact tokens. And when the raid, defeats the enemy, everybody kind of levels and skills his class up by this. Every time the enemy is killed, we have loot. And these are kind of random cards. I ordered them. These are the loot. This is the loot from the total end boss, and this is the loot from the next boss, this boss now. And the cards gain stronger and stronger for the classes, the more enemies you defeat. So, and when the enemy is defeated, the loot is distributed fairly among the players, and there's not much fight about the cards, because the Protector only needs defenders and spells that prevent damage. The Healer mostly only needs removal cards to remove cards from the enemy, and heal cards, of course, which is white and green. The Fire Mage only needs red spells, because his emblem supports red the most. The red spells of the Fire Mage gain huge bonuses. And the Wizard only needs blue and black cards. And yeah, the Recycler only needs artifacts, and the Druid only needs green spells, because his emblem, his bonuses synergize with green attacking creatures. So let's start the first round, shall we? So the first question is, how do you set up the enemy? So that's the enemy we will make a playtest with. And here I have all the custom enemy cards. I call them blood cards. It's explained in the rules. You have here behind the enemy card the information which blood cards, so enemy cards, go into the blood deck. So these cards will be used by the enemy automatically. And in the turn of the players, he will also cast instant cards, instant spells in the color he has. So there's a red enemy, so I'll only use red instants for him. So then we look. All these probabilities are coming into play later. We now have to put 4d6 into the Tezeract. I call this the Tezeract. So I put 4d6s there and 1d20 because of the probabilities. We will see later how this works. And a d4 because I will show you the game with 4 players. That's the minimum amount of players I would recommend. And you can play this with up to 6 players. Each player has a unique class. These are the emblems, by the way. And the enemy oftentimes targets a random player. And because I play now with 4 players, I choose a d4. So whenever the enemy chooses a random player, I don't have to roll a dice per se. I just have to look, oh, he has rolled the 3. The 3 is the Fire Mage. And this saves a lot of time. It's quite efficient. Okay, so this is how you set up the enemy. And you have to set up the life total. I will show you a screenshot of that later because I filmed this with my smartphone. So here you can see we have 2 damage dealer DDs. So the HP of the enemy is 280. 2 damage dealers. Everybody is a damage dealer except the healer and the protector. Right, this is the first turn. Bear with me. I'm not a professional YouTuber. This will get a little bit messy, but I'll try my best. The players start the game and everybody draws 7 cards. It's like in double-headed giant. Everybody goes through the collective phases, so it's not turn after turn. Everybody has the untap, the draw phase together, and then everybody has the main phase. Everybody plays a land, of course. Let's do that. And can cast spells. So we do that. And here I actually did a misplay. We do that. We have the first defender with 0-4, which is actually a 0-8 because of the emblem from the protector. All his defender creatures have the basic toughness of all defenders from the protector is doubled because of the emblem. So here we have the Fire Mage. We play that, and here we have the Wizard. We just play that, and now everybody has done everything he can do in the first main phase. Nobody can attack, so we end the turn. Everybody says, well, I'm done, let's end the turn. In the first turn, the enemy skips his first turn because of the protector. So he can do nothing, and everybody is again and has everybody has a turn now. The players are now, and everybody untaps, of course. Let's untap everything. So, and everybody untaps and draws together. So let's see what we have here. Here we have some, let's say, buff to make protectors stronger. We can do +3/+3. We can make the defender creatures stronger. And yeah, we have here also a good defender. So The protector will play this. The enemy will attack now, when it's his turn, the player with the most defender creatures. This is how the aggro is created. And now, of course, it's the protector because he has 2 defender creatures. And yeah, let's go on. The healer draws a card. And we play a land. Let's say this. And yeah, the healer, I would recommend that the healer will do nothing except for attack then. We will do this in attack phase. And yeah, the fire mage will play this and this. And here we cast this creature spell, and when he enters, it deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. The enemy counts as a creature and a player, so this makes things easier to target at least. And the emblem of the red of the fire mage says 6-triple the amount of damage your red spells and abilities deals if they target. So this is a triggered ability. The enemy gets 12 damage. I will show you a screenshot of the app that I used to track the life total of the enemy. And yeah, the wizard plays another land and will cast this when the enemy attacks, because when the frog enters, the target creature, so the enemy counts as a creature and a player, gains -1 power, so the defender doesn't have to defend that much. Alright, so let's go into the attack phase. The healer, let's say the healer would not attack because he could use this healing ability now, and maybe the protector needs it. So now everybody's done, and the enemy is now. First, the enemy uses the Tezeract. Now we can see first, does the enemy cast one of his blood cards? The chance that he casts his blood cards is 40 plus DDs, so we have 2 DDs right now, so it's 16 out of 20. And he rolled a 12. This means he will cast. If he would have rolled a 16, he still would have cast a blood card. If he would have rolled a 17 or higher, he would not have casted a blood card. By the way, English is not my native language. Please forgive me if I don't use grammar right. So here we have the blood cards, and he uses them, so we reveal the first blood card. He casts this, by the way. The wizard or other players who play blue can cancel this, by the way. But he, if you try to cancel one of his cards, he has the cancel resistance. So if you try to cancel something of him, the player who tries to cancel it rolls a d20, and if he rolls 1 or 2, the cancel will get cancelled. And if he rolls a 3 or higher, the blood card will be cancelled. Alright. So nobody cancels this. The enemy has now Cleave. It's an artifact. This stays. Whenever the enemy deals combat damage to a player, Cleave deals the same amount to the creature with the highest power and opponent controls. So yeah, that's that. And now he goes to attack. He attacks with the sum of the d6s, sorry. So that's 12, 15, 19. He attacks with 19, the protector, because he has the defenders. So 19, the wizard reacts. He casts for 2 his frog. So it's now only 18. because he targets the enemy. Then 18 damage is now coming. Nobody else can do much except the healer can heal it when the damage is done. So the protector will block the 18 damage. Yeah, the 18 damage which is coming. And so this is a toughness because of the emblem. So 10 damage goes through. The protector gets 10 damage. I show the screenshot of the life total tracker. So the protector is now at 5 HP. Oh wait, I forgot something. The enemy dealt 10 damage to the protector. So cleave triggers and deals 10 damage to the creature with the highest attacking power, which is in this moment this creature. So this gets lethal damage and everything else continues. The protector is now at 7 HP because the healing effects of the healer are doubled and he can redirect the healing effects to other players. So the protector has 7 HP. Now the enemy is done and yeah, the players are again. The players on tap, and now the enemy will always cast instants when the players declare their attackers. So this comes also now in the game, this mechanic. Alright, so let's start the next turn. Everybody draws a card. So as a protector I will play a forest and enchant the Jeskai Berry card. So this is now not a 0-8, this is now a 0-11. Only the basic toughness is doubled. So this makes +3/+3. So 0-11 now. The healer. The healer draws a card. And yeah, plays that. The protector is at 7 HP. So how do we heal that best? I would say like that. First we bring that in. When he enters he heals for 2, so double 4. We heal the protector for 4. He's now at 11 HP. And we tap him, so the protector is now at 13 HP. Fire Mage. Yeah, Fire Mage plays a land and plays for 2 this one. The creatures of the Fire Mage, which are red, deal, by the way, the double the damage, so they get a, yeah, I'll show the emblem. Then he will cast Shock for 1 mana. This deals 12 damage because it gets 6 triple. Yeah. Then the wizard is, and the wizard, let's say, the wizard, let's open if he will counter something or if he will reduce the attack power of the enemy. So everybody is done with the first main phase, and everybody will attack. Declare attackers, let's say that. So yeah, these are the attackers. Now the enemy will cast an instant by the chance of his casting 1 blood. So 16. We will use the Tezeract. This does not change the attacking power. The enemy has no attacking power, it's 0 when the players have their turns. But we will care for the target dice and the d20. So the d20 says 12. This means he will cast an instant because it's lower than 16 out of 20. So yeah, he casts an instant. Oh shit. Firewall. It deals 5 damage to target creature. I simplify this by which creature. There are many creatures. So the enemy targets first the player. And the player which is target is the number 1, which is the protector. So now, from the protector, a random creature is dealt 5 damage. Well, there is only one, so this gets 5 damage. He is now this thing is now 0-11, so 5 damage is assigned for this turn because of the firewall. Doesn't do much, so okay. The creature attack, this deals 4 damage, this deals 2 damage, and the enemy gets this damage, and it's the enemy's turn now. So an important part of the game is also the enemy starts with a certain amount of d6s, but as longer as the game goes on, the protector goes stronger and stronger and has stronger defenders. So this would grow too easy and boring. So all enemies cast their spells, and all enemies have the spell Enrage. And Enrage says, here we have it, it's an enchantment, it's indestructible, you can't counter it, and you add another d6, a white d6, to the Tezeract. And permanents your opponent control, which were dealt damage by the enemy, lose indestructible and can't be regenerated until end of turn. And if Enrage is removed, let's say by exiling it, you remove d6 from the Tezeract. So this makes these permanents normally stay on the battlefield. And this makes the enemy way stronger after time. So it will not get boring. That's an important point I want to point out. So now I will try to explain it a little bit more in depth. So we have here the general Tezeract rules. I call this new format Tezeract because, well, it's a bigger cube inside which go other dice, so kind of cubes. And Tezeract is a hypercube. It's a cube in a higher dimension, so with 4 dimensions. And well, if you want to flavor, let's say it's like in Inuyasha, there is a very powerful item which was the original Tezeract, which was destroyed, and several splinters of it were sprayed, or let's say in the whole universe now, randomly, and these splinters created very strong enemies, which were once creatures, but now are creatures on steroids, let's say. And we, as the players, the raiders, try to recollect the Tezeract to reduce the dangers of these strong creatures which gone mad, and when we defeat them, we recollect the energy of the original Tezeract, and we grow stronger by that. And yeah, let's say that's the flavor. It's quite sketchy, but here you have it. So the general raid rules, I will from now on focus on the mechanics of the game. The raid starts the game. The players start the game. Everybody draws 7 cards. Nobody draws in the first turn an additional card. Everybody stays with 7 cards in hand at the first turn. Second point, each player has always control over his one class emblem. I will show them a minute later. In and outside the game. And everybody has only one class emblem. Phases are gone through together, player by player, let's say clockwise. So it's like a two-headed giant. Sharing information is allowed among raid players.
the information you have, you can share with your party members. Only cards from the raid cube are allowed. So when you defeat the enemy, you get one pack of cards for the group, the raid. And this is kind of a cube you have as a game master, let's say. You can play as a game master in the game, but you have to prepare this. So each pack of cards is stronger than the card before in the pack before, because the enemies grow stronger. And so this is nice and fun. Card trading is allowed among players when a game is not currently on. So the enemy is defeated, we get a pack of cards, and now let's say we share that. Oh, another player sees, oh, you have that card, can I have that maybe, especially for this coming enemy, he has that and that effect. And yeah, of course you can trade that. Players can't pay any costs for other players, mana costs, etc., sacrificing cost. Except if a card says otherwise, like the mechanic assist. Players can't block for other players. So when the enemy is attacking someone, nobody can block and protect with the own creatures. The enemy always attacks the player with the most defender creatures. And if it's tied, he attacks a random player. Oh no, I will explain later. That's a little bit, there's more detail in that. So multi-block is not possible for any player, not even for the protector. That is because otherwise it would be way too easy to protect and defend against the enemy, and it doesn't take away much of the fun. So multi-block doesn't exist in this format. The game can only be won if the enemy has no positive HP left, so 0 or less. The game is lost if no player is anymore alive. So yeah, the enemy has plowed through all the players. The last one is dead, probably the healer, I don't know. And everybody's dead. The enemy has won. If you want to play a little bit harder, you can say when the enemy wins, the group has to pay a tribute, which is everybody has to sacrifice permanently one card in the active deck of each player. So this would make the stakes higher if you want to. If you kill the enemy, if it's quite close and 2 players are dead and the rest is alive and the enemy is finally dead, the surviving players resurrect the dead players in the next turn. It's like everybody's alive again at the next enemy. Next point, yeah, when an enemy is defeated, the raid gets 1 pack of cards from the raid cube, as I said. The maximum size of a player's deck is 40 cards. The reason for that is I wanted to have some hard choices for the players and some consistency. And also, many enemies use panic, so when panic, it's a blood card, gets activated, a random player discards the top 20 cards of his deck. And I wanted that players which are affected from panic actually panic a little bit, because they are almost dead by not being able to draw. And yeah, that's the reason. These are the reasons for that. Companion and Planeswalker cards are not allowed. I don't like companion cards. That's quite popular, I guess, in now, and yeah, I don't like them. And Planeswalker cards, I don't think they really work in this format. I don't like the flavor with them in this format, so I excluded them. The raid can consist of up to 6 players. I recommend 4 at least. With 6 players, you have a lot of synergy, and the enemy grow a little bit by difficulty when you have more players, but not a lot of. So the enemy rules. This is a lot. I will just make this visible. You can read it. I will not read it out. It's too much. You can pause the video. So let's go on. And we have the playtest, so you can see how it works mainly with the enemy. So these are the class emblems. This is the emblem of the Protector. You, when you start the game, you have kind of a campaign. You, in the most optimal way, you play with your EDH play group, and when everybody is fine with it, you play Tezeract, and you continue where you left the last time. So your decks are growing stronger and stronger, and you can play it next time further. And you can make that, you can do it like that, that everybody sticks with his class, or everybody can switch in the next round how you want it. It's how it makes fun for you. So this is the Protector class. You start with this emblem if you are the Protector. Your maximum HP, you don't go over that, it's not possible, is 3 times the highest toughness among your defender / war creatures in your starting library. So let's say you are the Protector and the defender with the highest toughness is 6, bonus not included. When the creature is on the field, it gets a bonus. We get to that. So you have a defender with 6 toughness. You have 3 multiplied by 6, so you have 18 maximum HP. You can only cast creatures with defender or wall, so you're limited by that when you cast. The basic toughness of your creatures with defender or wall is doubled, the basic toughness, if they are on the battlefield. Whenever you get combat damage from the enemy, you may create a rage token, same as a treasure token. Different artwork. Let's see. Created this one. Yeah, quite fancy. Okay, let's continue. Start the game with 1 rage token, and the enemy skips his first turn, so everybody can prepare and build up a little bit. Otherwise, the enemy would one-hit quite likely the Protector in the first turn. And the Healer, maximum HP 10. Spells and abilities you control which increase your life can instead increase the life HP of the other players, so you can redirect it. Your healing spells and abilities are doubled in their amount. Yeah, so let's say some strategy stuff about the Protector first. If you like to think about your resources and keep in the hand some, let's say, wild cards if the enemy goes crazy, the Protector is for you, because you need to keep your best cards in your hand until the very last moment, so you can actually protect and stay alive. If you are a relaxed player, you should play the Healer, because the Healer in many turns doesn't do much, or sometimes doesn't do anything. And in the right moment, you have to heal and save people. So if you're, let's say, quite chilled and easygoing, you should try the Healer. If you like to support others and make others stronger, you should play the Wizard, maximum HP 12. Your blue creatures have permanently, because of your emblem, every time this creature deals combat damage to the enemy, you may let target player draw a card. So you can draw a card, another person can draw, you can choose. Your black creatures have permanently, always, if they attack, every time this creature deals combat damage to the enemy, you may let target player put up to 5 cards from his graveyard on the bottom of his library. So this is quite a countermeasure against blood cards like Panic, which mill cards from a random player when the enemy attacks and deals damage. Whenever a spell lets you draw cards, so a spell, you may also let a target player draw that many cards. So you can draw double the amount of cards, or you can also let another player draw cards. And you have no maximum hand size if you are the Wizard. So that's also quite nice. The Fire Mage, the Glass Cannon, 8 HP maximum. The damage of your red creatures is doubled. So And 6, triple the amount of damage your red spells and abilities deal if they target. So if you make a AoE spell, every creature gets that much damage. This doesn't get bonus. It has to target. Pay 1 red and 1 blue mana. Target player creates 1 mana potion, same as a treasure token. For fun, I just made that because I like flavor. So, next class is the Druid. If you have 5 players, you can also choose the Druid. It's the green class and maximum HP 11. Permanently, the creatures of the Druid have, every time this creature deals combat damage to the enemy, you may choose 1. Target player may play an additional land from his hand this turn. Or you may reveal the top card of your library until you reveal a land card. Put it into your hand. The rest of the revealed cards are put onto the bottom of your library. Additionally, you may sacrifice 10 non-token permanents to reanimate target player. Use only as a sorcery and only once per game. So this is a quite that's a lifesaver in the game. Let's say the protector gets killed or the healer gets killed by a blood card from the enemy. Everybody and the whole raid would just crumble and die. But the Druid can make a battle res and resurrect something mid-fight. But he has to make some sacrifice, and the person who is resurrected, let's see here, the reanimated player restarts with 3 basic lands in play. You can choose that. Which lands? Shuffles his library and draws 4 cards. And then he goes on. So there are quite some costs, but you can save someone and he can continue. The Recycler. It's actually my favorite class. This is the emblem, maximum HP 9. The Recycler can only cast artifact spells. And you may create a trash token every time you play your first land per turn. So I created this card. The trash token is this. It's like a treasure on steroids because you don't have to sacrifice it. You tap it and you add 1 mana of any color. So the Recycler has no shortage of mana. He gets a lot of mana, let's say that. And here are his other options he can use all the time. Instant speed. Sacrifice 1 artifact, pay 1 mana, create a Thopter token. Everybody knows what that is. Sacrifice 2 artifacts, pay 2 mana to create a Defender token. So we have that. We have that here. That's a Defender token. I made that for fun. I didn't play test that much because I wanted the Recycler to be able to to take the aggro of the Defender if, let's say, the Protector is not healable or is quite low on everything. So the Recycler can sacrifice himself kind of when he creates a lot of Defenders. And then he takes the aggro and maybe he gets 1 hit and dies, but the Protector gets some turns to breathe. So yeah, he can do that. Then sacrifice 3 artifacts to pay 3 mana, create a Searchlight token. That's that. Tap, choose a player. That player adds 1 mana of any color they choose. Let's go on. Sacrifice 4 artifacts, pay 4 mana, create a Do Not Press token. I really like that too. The enemy creates a lot of blood cards, so he casts spells, and these most of the times are permanents and artifacts and enchantments. And after a while, the enemy grows very, very strong and almost is unkillable, or kills the players. So a lot of removal is needed, and the Recycler is kind of a very reliable remover because he can create these tokens. And this token says, do not press. It's like he hacks the artifact of the enemy and he creates a self-destruction button. I love the flavor of that. And the card says sacrifice do not press the card, destroy target artifact. So that's how that works. Let's go on. Last ability, sacrifice 5 artifacts, pay 5 mana, create a Mech Titan token. You know that from Kamigawa. Very cool. And it's legendary, so you can only create one. After that, you have to sacrifice one, of course. And the Mech Titan has lifelink, and this is quite special because this is the last emblem of the players. Because the enemy negates all lifelink triggers from opponents, exception Mech Titan. The reason I kind of outlawed lifelink is because it would make the game way too easy and it would make the healer redundant. And I want a healer who cares for people and heals people and saves people. And when everybody has lifelink, this cool class cannot really exist. So lifelink does not really work in enemy in the former Tezeract, except the Mech Titan. He goes over that because he's quite huge and he's legendary. And yeah, that's not really an argument, but I made it that way. So the Recycler can heal himself like crazy. One hit of the Mech Titan and he is up to full HP again. And yeah, so if you have 6 players, you can play the Recycler. So these are the rules. Again, the enemy rules are a lot. I will not go through them. These are the enemy cards. Here you see the level. Level 6 means at this point, when you go to this enemy, this is the first level 5. At this point, you have a protector with creatures and defender creatures who have 5 toughness normally without bonus. And after that, you get deck of booster pack, let's say, and there is a defender, at least one, with toughness 6. So your cards grow stronger, your decks grow stronger, and so do the enemies. And I ordered this by this level. And yeah, I explained this in another part of the video. So these are some enemies in the progress. I create them and I will tune them a little bit. Yeah. So I didn't finish them. And these are the absolute end bosses. This is the first Diversion Noxus, and he will cost a lot of blood cards. He will not care for the flavor. He will be very, very strong. I don't know how many D6s he gets. And the absolute end boss is Climate Change. It's a hyper object, if you care for philosophy. He's all colors and he will be almost undefeatable. But if you play your cards right and use synergy right, you have a chance to defeat Climate Change in this game, which is quite funny in my opinion. And these are the blood cards. I honed them, I made them a lot better after a lot of playtests. And if you want these cards, I can't give you, or let's say this document. I can't give you this original because it's only for my use. I don't own the pictures I use here. But if you, let's say, donate at least $20 to me, because this needed a lot of work. I took like at least 4 months to create this and make it better. If you donate, let's say $20 or more to my PayPal description, you can see the address. I will send you per email. I will see your email from the PayPal donation. I will send you these blank tokens and the document without the artworks. So I have to redo that. Actually, I have to remove the picture of that. So I will send you per email this document, this Word document, so you can put any picture you want in the background. And it's the same information, but without the artwork. And yeah, I will send you that as a PDF and as a Word file. you can have all that. So you can print it and have it for your own. And maybe, well, it would be awesome if you played with your play group, your EDH play group. So I hope this explains this all. I wish, if you have questions, of course, post them. See you later.